Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we're doing the what's next on Josh Warrington, the former two-time IBF Featherweight Champion of the world at 126 pounds following his tough 7th round TKO loss to Leigh Wood in their all-UK grudge battle on October 7th on DAZN. Now, before we get into that, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel, I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I continue to build my channel here. So this fight between Warrington and Wood was a good one, but Warrington was dominating the action in terms of points and stuff like that. Wood was getting shots in here and there, but he just couldn't keep up with the pace that Warrington was setting. And but Warrington just seemed to be beating him to the punch and, you know, right up in his face pretty much the whole time. And that was really bugging, you know, Leigh Wood. And Leigh Wood, though, I mean, the mistake that Warrington made was just staying in the pocket, but that's his style, you know? You can't really judge a guy's style. And Leigh Wood caught him clean. I mean, he caught him with a clean-ass punch that hurt Warrington badly, and then he put him down, and they called the fight. You know, but Warrington, you know, he argues that when he got up and turned around that he was okay. I'm sorry, he was not okay. He was hurt badly. He got up and he was hurt so badly that he turned the other direction and the referee stopped the fight. I mean, you know, there was no problem with the stoppage. I really believe he would have gotten hurt more if the fight would have continued and then he would have been stopped. So I applaud the referee for stopping the fight because it was the right decision. And Leigh Wood was hurt. I mean, Josh Warrington was hurt. But be that as it may, the fight ended. Warrington wasn't happy, but he loses his second consecutive fight, and I think this third in his last 5 fights. And now the big question is, what's next for Josh Warrington following this loss? Well, you know, we know he talked about being done with 126 as well. And to be honest, I think he is following this. There really isn't any other big fights for him at 126, unless he really is hell-bent on trying to get revenge on Mauricio Lara. But even that fight can be contested at 130 because Mauricio Lara came in overweight for the rematch with Leigh Wood. So I really believe that Warrington is probably going to chase Leigh Wood to 130 and look for other fights to kind of close out his career in another weight class. Saying that, I'm going to run through the top 10 at 130 for Warrington as well and take a look at what he can be doing. But I'm going to start off with what I think is a likely and maybe the most likely option, and that's a rematch with Leigh Wood. I really believe these two guys, there's a good opportunity that we see Leigh Wood and Josh Warrington too, and it's going to be both their debut at 130 pounds. I really believe that, and the reason why is I think it sets up both fighters nicely to have a trilogy. Or, you know, if Leigh Wood were to win again, then he can just kind of ride off and make his move on 130. And also it kind of works the same way for what's his name, Warrington. If he wins, it sets up a potential third fight with Leigh Wood, or it sets him up nicely at 130. A good start to it. It kind of gives him some pop, some flair, and both guys would love a showdown with Joe Cordina, and we'll get into that in a minute. But I think very possible that it could be Leigh Wood in a rematch. Now, let's run through the top 10. We start with Emmanuel Navarrete. Not likely because he's with Top Rank, and it looks like Bob Arum has plenty of options for Josh Warrington heading to before having to cross the street, you know. So I don't see this one. Then there's Oscar Valdez, the former 2 division champion. Same thing. He's with Top Rank. I'm not saying it's a bad opponent or would be a bad matchup at all, but I don't think what's his name, Eddie Hearn, would want to match Warrington up against somebody out of Matchroom when he has other options here, you know. So I'm not seeing it, even though I like that matchup. Then Joel Cordina, the IBF champion. I can see this one, but I really believe that Leigh Wood right now would likely get the fight with Joel Cordina over Josh Warrington, just because he won the fight. And you also have to factor in that Leigh Wood might be in mandatory mode. He might have to make a mandatory defense of his belt next, before he could fight either guy from the UK between Wood and Warrington. So I'm going to lean towards the less likely on this fight, but I wouldn't mind seeing it. Then you got O'Shaquie Foster, the WBC champion. I'm sure Foster would take the fight, but Warrington, kind of too risky of a fight for him, especially coming off back-to-back losses. I don't see him taking it. Hector Luis Garcia, the WBA champion. He's a PBC guy. I think he's going to stay WBA champ. I like the matchup, but again, it's one of those risky matchups against a guy who's not with Matchroom in the zone, so it's not likely to happen, not likely any interest. Then there's Shavkat Rakhimov. Would love to see the fight. It's definitely makeable because Rakhimov's with Matchroom, but I don't think Eddie Hearn's going to want to match Josh Warrington unless Warrington just says, fuck it, I'll take the fight, because I think, because I want to move straight into a title shot later in the year. Like say, what's his name? Leigh Wood gets the crack, gets the opportunity to fight for the title. Let's say it's Leigh Wood against, what's his name? Against Cordina. If that's the matchup, Wood against Cordina for the title, then Warrington might say, hey, I'd like to move in and fight to become mandatory, but I don't even know if he'd be able to do that. So I'm going to say no to this one as well. I don't see it. Then any other guys, Conceição, Zelfa Barrett, Lamont Roach Jr., Roger Gutierrez, maybe Gutierrez, but all those guys, I really don't see it happening either because of promotional issues. I really think Warrington's going to be treated with kid gloves, but I really believe the Leigh Wood rematch, in my opinion, is the most likely fight to happen of any of them. That's my opinion. So that's it. That's what I got. That's the what's next on Josh Warrington, the former two-time featherweight champion of the world, following his 7th round TKO loss to Leigh Wood as he was challenging for the WBA featherweight title. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I continue to build my channels here. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.